Welcome to India Market Open. It's an exciting morning. We're coming out of a long weekend. Of course, the biggest headline from this weekend, guys, was the exclusive conversation the Prime Minister had with NDTV, where I think for the very first time he's gone beyond politics, beyond numbers, to what's important for the economy, what's next for India, and of course the euphoria, reassurance for the bulls on the street. So lots of excitement, and technically as well the markets are looking good. So it's all coming together.
Yeah, I think the comment on the fact that stock markets on 4th June, and we'll play that out for you, but Prime Minister saying that on June 4th, the programmers in the markets will be too busy. And the reason that's important politically as well is because through the last few weeks, or couple of weeks, I would say, any doubts or concerns about what the outcome is going to be sort of get quelled with a kind of confidence that you're seeing. Yeah. So it's going to be an interesting morning.
You know what stood out as well, Niraj, is bull market after 4th of June. I mean, what have we already not seen in our lives in the last 2 years?
Yeah, and you know, it's great for all of us capital market observers to hear the head of state of country say that capital market participation is important because it adds luster to the economy. When we haven't seen that happen too often, right? One was PM Modi's photograph with Rakesh Jhunjhunwala back then, and people said, okay, there is importance being given to capital markets. Now there's a PM on a live interview or an interview to the editor-in-chief of the network telling about how capital markets are important. I thought that was really standout.
And how important new retail investors are for this market. I think that comes back to financial literacy, which has been an agenda for the country for a whole decade.
But happening in the last 5 years.
And happening right now, and the Prime Minister only reiterating that is such critical mass for India and for capital markets. So if you're a bull on the street, you've woken up very excited this Tuesday morning, rest assured.
You know, the other thing that will also add up is that the voter turnout for Phase 5 wasn't too bad, at about 60%.
Mumbai was terrible, huh? Or was it okay?
Mumbai was Mumbai.
Mumbai
was Mumbai, let me put it that way.
But it was second best in history in 30 years.
In 3 decades, let's just say Mumbai is Mumbai. But Mumbai is another kettle of fish because no one knows what's going to happen there with now 6 parties instead of 4 in the fray. But the overall voter turnout, because there were some pretty important seats, was 60% versus 62% in 2019. So not too much of a gap if low voter turnout is still a concern for the street. Mumbai was at 52% versus 54% in 2019. 54% was the best in 3 decades, which is also not great, let's be honest. There should have been a better voter turnout. Though there were quite a few complaints about how the lines were very long, the machines were taking too much time, etc. Those who want to vote will end up voting.
I stood for 2 hours.
Well done, Niraj.
2 hours. No, I am just saying that, And there were people who were senior citizens waiting for an hour and a half. So,
My street was closed for about 2 hours because Karina and Saif decided to vote. So they actually barricaded.
Did they stand in line?
They mustn't have stood in line because the street was blocked. You can only imagine the treatment.
Well,
whatever it takes, it's good publicity, right?
But everyone should stand in line and everyone should vote. But anyway, there's still 2 phases. So at Delhi, it's over to you now, even if Mumbai has had a low voter turnout, another urban city. But let's set you up with the global cues this morning as well before we move ahead. And sort of a mixed set of trade on Wall Street overnight. It's all about the Nasdaq more than anything else, which was up ahead of Nvidia numbers. Nvidia numbers are going to be out on Wednesday. That stock was already up in trade in anticipation, and that was really the biggest spot of color green that you could see on US markets. The Dow down in part also because of JP Morgan, and this was the other interesting thing overnight. Jamie Dimon saying and indicating that he will retire earlier than expected, also saying that he would not go back and buy some of the stocks they already invested in at the current prices, and the street didn't like that too much. JP Morgan dropped about 4.5%. So that was the sort of mixed kind of vibe, I would say, in the US markets. Bonds were okay. It's going to be a big week in the sense of the big triggers are going to be statements from various Fed officials that will be seen. And it ticked slightly higher, the 10-year at 4.4%. Crude was anticipated to be the big story, definitely a huge geopolitical story with the Iranian president and foreign minister dying after their helicopter fell from the skies. a lot of statements there, but stand-in now president will come into place, the vice president will come in. Remember, Iran is the third largest oil producer in the OPEC. And it's not expected that there will be too much change in their policy because of this, which is why you've not seen too much of an impact on crude overall. So Brent has been fairly steady around the same mark as it has been, about $83 odd. So not too much happening as of now as far as crude is concerned. I want to just pull up Asia, and Asia
just
also
very
fairly
quickly,
mixed.
Samina, while we are at commodities and the geopolitical piece. So while crude didn't react too heavily to the geopolitical unfortunate circumstance that happened, gold has reacted.
Yeah.
And I think that is a risk asset. So it's safe haven. We did see gold make record highs, along with gold. Silver also went up. Copper is, of course, at new record highs too. But I think one asset class that we want to watch out for beyond crude is going to be gold. Of course, apart from the Fed back and forth, the geopolitical situation will have an impact on gold prices.
Silver over the weekend also
has had a good run.
Record highs.
24% returns on gold in 1 year.
I mean, think about it.
No risk.
And so
virtually, yes.
So all of the very traditional Indian savers, their first port of call is always gold. So they may be.
And we have an SGB lined up next month. So it'd be actually mid this month. You should have a sovereign gold bond offering that comes out, and we will see the kind of reaction, and also the sheer demand for it is compelling. I know exactly, but a year and a half ago, the SGB was not something people wanted to touch.
Yeah.
And now you're queuing up for the sovereign gold bond. So this is all unfortunate what's happening, but of course positive gold.
But gold has been on an upward move even before the Iranian
this only is going to help it further.
And that of course is a different story altogether. Just want to round up with what Asia is looking like at the moment, and we'll pull that up for you. So fairly mixed cues there, and even in Asian markets, the whole Nvidia sort of supply chain up and down is going to be in focus ahead of the numbers. So that could be one big indicator to track. I want to pull up GIFT Nifty for you, and the implied open that we could see this morning, trending in the green, nothing too exciting, but about 51 points up, so to speak. Now, we did have a truncated session on Saturday, and as expected, you had very little fund flows because it was a truncated session. So we'll just pull that up for you as well. Nothing too exciting happening in that Saturday trade. DIIs and FIs both sold, but not in great amounts. So having put that aside, I think, Niraj, the big factor today would, in some part, definitely what the Prime Minister is saying. Maybe the election blues behind us, and now digesting the results as well, the corporate numbers that we've seen.
Yeah, most certainly. And it kind of showed in the way the markets did last week as well, right? So while they continued to be choppy, you had a 2.5% uptick in the Nifty and the Sensex in the week gone by. But lest that not be as impressive, look at the overall picture with the Nifty gaining about 2.5%, of the Sensex gaining about 2.5% for the week. But the mid caps and the small caps participating in great gusto. 6.5% for the BSE mid cap index, 7.4% for the BSE small cap index. If you don't call this recovery, then I don't know what do you call as recovery. 7% in 5 days is very, very strong. So the momentum is in favor of the bulls for sure. And, let's not caught about whether banks have done well or IT is not done well, because I think the action is happening beyond those two pockets. Look at defense, look at shipbuilding, for example. Strong cues for defense. The DRDO chief saying that we want to be focusing on being Atmanirbhar in terms of our supply chain. Imagine the opportunities that it opens up for the whole spate of companies which are in the space tech space, right? And we saw this last week, by the way, shipbuilding stocks. The order wins that happened were very, very large and across the board. I mean, sometimes it was $15 million, sometimes it was some more, but all of these guys are getting orders left, right, center. And therefore, defense, shipbuilding, infrastructure seems right up there in terms of preference. And by the way, a cheeky comment, but If you look at what's happening to the alcohol stocks or the liquor stocks in the election season, those two are doing well because, I mean, forget the United Breweries of the world, but Associated Alcohols, GM Breweries, these stocks are really doing well. So clearly they're getting orders.
I don't know if it's cheeky, but it's actually true.
It's actually true.
You do see there is a election economy boost, which does come in. You see that in commercial vehicles.
Yeah.
You could see that maybe in some of those snack maker companies as well.
Or gas stove companies, but liquor companies have certainly shown on the numbers.
Funny because it's usually a dry week when you go out voting, right? So it doesn't matter. But great numbers from Radhiko Khaitan a few days ago. Even Tilak Nagar Industries, a fairly small liquor company, is up 100% in the last couple of years. So there's lots happening in that space. But let's quickly tell you the other few stocks you want to watch out for. Before we go into that, a quick mention, while the Nifty is looking extremely well placed at this stage, Bank Nifty is also going to be one you want to watch out for. Niraj mentioned how the mid cap and the small cap index did well, but the micro cap index did even better in terms of trade. So you clearly can tell the texture of this market. It's DIIs who are enjoying their trade in the market. FIs continue to remain short on the index. They continue to sell the market. But of course, locally, the euphoria is there for everyone to see. So micropack for the week has actually had a pretty good run. Well, in terms of stocks that you want to track, a bunch of them are earnings reaction. Don't expect too much. I'm only reporting on ONGC because it's an index heavyweight. Numbers were largely in line with expectation. No big moves either on top line. EBITDA was a slight miss, but top line was largely in line with Bloomberg estimates. Revenue was marginally flat. Net profit also came in flat, but EBITDA is where we've seen a bit of an uptick, but this was below what the street was working with. Along with that, so watch out for this one. The gas production, I believe, has come in lower for the quarter and for the year. We'd like to see what brokerages have to say, whether this is a countrywide trend or this is specific to ONGC. But given the importance of natural gas and the impetus on it, it's surprising that the production for ONGC in terms of gas is slightly lower for the quarter. Well, apart from that, everything to do railways is having a field day. The commentary from the Prime Minister, the earnings that these companies have reported, the stock performance has been phenomenal. And once again, reporting on a few of those, RVNL and RITES have backed two big orders, so these counters will be in focus. IRFC has also reported numbers which were a clear beat to street expectations. Total income came in higher by 5%. Net profit has seen a big jump, actually, 34% higher to come in 117 crores. The board has approved funding plans, very, very aggressive, ambitious funding plans to tune of 50,000 crores via bonds from domestic and international markets. So watch out for IRFC. It was up 2.5% on Saturday. Today could be another positive morning for the counter. Along with that, RITES and RVNL both have bagged massive orders. RITES to the tune of 915 crores. RVNL has also got a big order, 148 crores. Just another quick one, guys, is Patel Engineering. Could be a big mover in early trade. If I had to put money on this, it would be expected to see a gap up. Phenomenal numbers. Patel Engineering has reported profit spike of 84% for about 141 crores from 77 crores. It's a smaller company, but the move hence could be even bigger for Patel. Revenues have also increased about 11.5%. So good quarter for Patel, good quarter for IRFC. ONGC, I'm guessing, is muted, so we shouldn't be expecting fireworks on that one.
ONGC would be perhaps a bit negative. I think HAL, before we get to any of the others, for a couple of reasons. And one is, of course, that Nomura note, Niraj, that you were referring to, but also in the Prime Minister's interview to NDTV. And you will hear those clips through the day. It's on our social media as well. He talks about the turnaround in PSU companies and mentions Hindustan Aeronautics specifically, referring to the bumper quarterly numbers they've had and how profits have gone up, record profits of 4,000 crore rupees. So on top of that, you have this Nomura note out today, which is talking about at least a 12% upside. They have set a target price of 5,100, for HAL, and of course, talked about how the margin surprise is the big upside. HAL, Hindustan Aeronautics, is what I'm talking about, not ONGC. So, that's one which you could see some more action, already up of 4.5%.
And we'll be talking to the management on the channel at 10:30. So watch out, because while the PM talks about HAL, even the returns, Tamanna, it's up 120% in 6 months.
The results have been great, though.
That happened a few days ago, but more 120% returns in the last 6 months. Along with that is also BDL, which we can, of course, discuss. But watch that conversation, because I think it'll be interesting to know what lies ahead for HAL. It's a multi-year growth story, massive orders, and transformation of sorts.
What more? Is everything priced in is also what would be interesting to see in that conversation. The other one, if we're just talking about, everything around elections and the running of elections, BEL is an interesting one. Numbers are good. Numbers have come in over the weekend and over the long weekend, actually. A beat on all fronts. I would keep BEL on my radar. Revenue up 32%, EBITDA up 25%. Margins are a little muted, 26.7% versus 28.3%. But you have seen increase in other expenses. You've seen raw material costs also go up. Net profit is up 30%, and their order book, and that's an update they gave, 75,934 crores. They will have a con call later today, but BEL is again another very, very strong player to look at. Godrej Properties is something I would add. News flow, actually, more than anything else. So they've acquired 10 land parcels, and 21,000 crore rupees is the value of the projects that they want to build. The property and real estate has anyway been on a bit of a seesaw, but Godrej Property is not doing too badly. The numbers were decent, and I would watch out for that. You want to come in?
No, just my 3 stocks, but just adding to that, and we have a special conversation in about a minute from now, so I'll rush through that. But Godrej Properties, Morgan Stanley is also added to the Asia Pacific ex-Japan focus list at the expense of Apollo Hospitals, so watch out for that. But very quickly, before we get in Mr. Sanjay Pugalia but very quickly, 3 stocks from my end. Kalpataru Projects has signed 3 Aramco contracts worth approximately 7,550 crores. It's very large for Kalpataru Projects. Contracts for expansion of master gas system network in Saudi Arabia, so watch out for Kalpataru Projects. Watch out for Data Patterns. Revenues were down, but margins expanded meaningfully at 51% versus 39.6%. PAT up 28% at 71 versus 55. Watch out for Data Patterns, and a lot of stocks, but I think the third one that stands out for me is Concor. Brokerages have given a thumbs up to that. The City note lays it out. They say they maintain a buy. The target price is increased to 1340. They say it surprised positively with unusually strong growth guidance for FY25. And keep in mind, even Jefferies has upped the target price to 1240 versus 1110 earlier.
You also have 2 block deals, CG Power and Indus Towers, so watch out for that. That, of course, you'll see at 9 a.m., but significant. There's going to be an FI sellout, a block deal for both those counters. But apart from that...
So there's Lupin, there's Biocon, but we'll come back to all of that, because the big story this morning definitely is the NDTV, exclusive interview with Editor-in-Chief Sanjay Pugalia, who joins us in this morning. And, Sanjay, this is an interview that has gone viral. So before we come to you for what was between the lines and apart from the interview that you saw, let's just play out for our viewers some snippets of that interview with the Prime Minister. He's spoken to a lot of channels, but this is really the one that gives you an intent and an insight into what a term 3 could look like. Listen in.
हम 25,000 से यात्रा शुरू की थी, 75,000 पहुंचे हैं. ये अपने आप में दुनिया में हमारी इज्जत का प्रतिष्ठा भी बढ़ती है. दूसरा, जितने ज्यादा सामान्य नागरिक इस फील्ड में आते हैं, इतनी इकोनॉमी को बहुत बड़ा बल मिलता है, बहुत बड़ा मिलता है. और मैं तो चाहता हूँ हर नागरिक के मन में थोड़ी रिस्क टेकिंग कैपेसिटी बढ़नी चाहिए. एब्सोल्युटली, ये बहुत जरूरी होता है. सोच करके ये क्या करूँगा, ऐसी जिंदगी जीने से बात बनती नहीं है. जिस दिन चुनाव का नतीजा आएगा, आप उस हफ्ते भर में देखना कि यानी भारत का स्टॉक मार्केट के लिए उसके सारे जो उनके प्रोग्रामिंग के जो प्रोग्रामिंग वाले सारे उनके थक जाएंगे. आप HL देख लीजिए, जिसको ये लोग जाकर के जुलूस निकाले थे, मजदूरों को एक करके भड़काने की कोशिश की। आज HL इस गति से चौथी तिमाही में उसने रिकॉर्ड प्रॉफिट किया है जी। HL 4000 करोड़ का प्रॉफिट। एक आपका ध्यान होगा, बहुत कम लोगों का है, और मैं मानता हूँ कभी आप पूरा एक प्रोग्राम कर सकते हो टीवी चैनल, गति शक्ति। जैसे दुनिया में हमारे डिजिटल इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर की चर्चा होती है, लेकिन गति शक्ति की उतनी चर्चा नहीं है। टेक्नोलॉजी का एक अद्भुत उपयोग, स्पेस टेक्नोलॉजी का अद्भुत उपयोग, और पूरे भारत में कहीं पर भी कोई भी इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर का प्रोजेक्ट करना है, लॉजिस्टिक्स खर्च को कम करना है, लॉजिस्टिक सपोर्ट बढ़ाना है, गति शक्ति एक ऐसा प्लेटफॉर्म होगा। मैंने देखा, मैंने जब पहली बार इसको लॉन्च किया तो राज्यों के चीफ सेक्रेटरी से इतने खुश हो गए कि भाई अब आप हमारी गति शक्ति प्लेटफॉर्म पे जो डेटा है 1600 लेयर्स है, आप कोई भी चीज डालो तो 1600 लेयर में से वेरीफाई होकर के आता है कि यहाँ कर सकते हैं, नहीं कर सकते। ये अपने आप में एक बड़ी यूनिक चीज है ये। तो इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर प्लानिंग में हमें बहुत बड़ी सुविधा रहती है, इसलिए मुझे लगता है कि हम बहुत गतिशाली हैं।
Okay, just some excerpts of that detailed interview, but Sanjay Pugalia joins us in to give us more insight. And Sanjay ji, just the comment on markets is something that no one has heard Prime Minister Modi talking about. That clip has gone viral over the last couple of days. What was the intent behind that, and also the importance of the messaging to the average Indian that thoda risk le lo?
Exactly. Prime Minister with some confidence and clarity only will say a thing about things like risk appetite. चूंकि उनको पता है कि यंगर और न्यूअर इन्वेस्टर्स बहुत बढ़ गए हैं, 15 करोड़ डीमैट अकाउंट हो गए हैं, और ऐसे में अगर 4, 5, 8 करोड़ लोग भी ट्रेड कर रहे हों, इन्वेस्ट कर रहे हों, तो जो इक्विटी कैपिटल चाहिए इंडिया को वो कितनी बड़ी आ सकती है। तो वो बिल्कुल एक तरह का कॉल टू एक्शन दे रहे हैं। ये उनका कॉन्फिडेंस झलकाता है कि इंडिया की जो ग्रोथ ट्रेजेक्टरी है वो बहुत स्ट्रांग है, इसलिए कोई घबराने की बात नहीं है, बाजार में पैसा कमाओगे। ऐसे भी इन्वेस्टिंग कल्चर बढ़ रहा है। तो मुझे जो बहुत रिमार्केबल बात लगी तमन्ना, वो यही लगी कि वो कह रहे हैं कि इन्वेस्टर्स को रिस्क लेना चाहिए, इंडिविजुअल इन्वेस्टर्स की बात कर रहे थे। तो ओवरऑल जो इकोनॉमिक फ्रेमवर्क उनका है ये बताता है कि इन अ वे मुझे लगा कि उनके लिए अब ये चुनाव का कैंपेन का उनका जो टाइम टेबल है उसको वो फॉलो कर रहे हैं। चुनाव उनके लिए कंप्लीट हो चुका है, अब आगे की क्या तैयारी करनी है इस पर वो फोकस कर रहे हैं। तो मेरे सारे इंटरव्यू में आपने देखा होगा कि फॉरवर्ड लुकिंग बातें बहुत ज्यादा हैं और वो प्लान बहुत स्पेसिफिक और डिटेल्स में बता रहे हैं।
संजय जी, वो ट्वीट में भी दिखा था दैट कंटिन्यूटी सीम्स इमिनेंट, सो टॉकिंग अबाउट व्हाट्स कमिंग अप अहेड। गुड मॉर्निंग नीरज हियर। One question again related to markets, because this interview, unlike some of the others, had a lot of focus for capital market players as well in a big way. आपने शुरुआत उसी से की, लेकिन मैं एक और सवाल उस पर पूछना चाहूँगा कि जहाँ पे उन्होंने बताया कि the participation from so many Indians across the board is increasing and the importance of that for the economy, मतलब एक linkage of capital markets and economy, which was fabulous for me. आपके हिसाब से वो सारे कैपिटल मार्केट रिलेटेड कॉन्वर्सेशन में सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट आपको क्या लगा?
जो सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट बात मुझे लगी वो 2-3 इंडिकेशन उन्होंने दिए, एक आध वर्ड का जिक्र करते हुए, क्योंकि इलेक्शन का वक्त है तो वो कॉशियस हैं कि किस तरह से बात कही जाए, कि हाई टैक्सेशन एक प्रॉब्लम है, टैक्सेशन कम होता है तो रेवेन्यू बढ़ता है। उन्होंने कहा कि अगर इंडिया को बहुत मेजर ग्रोथ टारगेट अचीव करने हैं तो सेंटर, स्टेट और लोकल सेल्फ गवर्नमेंट में एक तरीके की ट्यूनिंग, एक तरीके की वेवलेंथ बहुत जरूरी है। और अभी मैं एक पिंक पेपर में एडिटोरियल पढ़ रहा था, हमारे इंटरव्यू के बेसिस पे एडिटोरियल लिखा गया है जिसमें यही कहा गया है कि रिफॉर्म के लिए कंसेंसस बहुत जरूरी है। पीएम ने जिस एक बात पे फोकस किया वो ये था कि स्टेट्स का बहुत बड़ा रोल है और स्टेट्स को अब इन सिंक होना पड़ेगा नेशनल पॉलिसीज के साथ। अगर वो होता है तो इंडिया सबसे बड़ा इन्वेस्टमेंट डेस्टिनेशन बन सकता है, इस बात को अंडरलाइन कर रहे थे। तीसरी बात जो सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट है, उनको ही इज वेरी माइंडफुल दैट डिसीजन मेकिंग प्रोसेस स्टिल इज अ प्रॉब्लम इन इंडिया एंड हाउ टू एक्सेलरेट डिसीजन मेकिंग प्रोसेसेस, उस पर उन्होंने बहुत बात की। ब्यूरोक्रेटिक रिफॉर्म्स पे उन्होंने बहुत बात की और उसका मतलब यही है कि जितने हर्डल्स हैं या जो बॉटल नेकिंग होती है उसको कैसे हटाएं। और एम्बिशन की तो कोई कमी नहीं है, जब वो ये बात कहते हैं और बहुत नेचुरल एक वर्ड में कह करके निकल गए कि 1300 आइलैंड हैं और इतने बड़े बड़े आइलैंड हैं कि सिंगापुर क्यों नहीं बन सकता, और आपने उसके पहले देखा था कि वो लक्षद्वीप घूमने के लिए गए हुए थे। तो दीज आर ऑल पोटेंशियली बिग आइडियाज वेयर ही हैज ऑलरेडी डन हिज होमवर्क। वो एक ड्रॉप कर देते हैं हिंट और उसके बाद छोड़ देते हैं और अचानक एक मेगा प्लान अनाउंस होता है। तो आप इस पूरे इंटरव्यू को अगर देखेंगे, पढ़ेंगे और इसका हम लोग एक पूरा टेबुलेशन करें तो पाएंगे कि आगे का बहुत ही एक्टिव एजेंडा उन्होंने हमारे सामने रख दिया है।
Sanjay ji, foreigners, domestic investors have been betting big on value creation for PSU stocks. And we've seen stocks like an HAL, a BDL have a dream run, not just in the last couple of weeks, but in the last few years. As we look ahead in term 3, what lies ahead? What's the road ahead? Is there still money to be made in these stocks?
मुझे लगता है कि बिल्कुल हाँ। एक चीज जिस पर हम लोग लगातार फोकस करते थे कि प्राइवेटाइजेशन होगा कि नहीं, डिसइन्वेस्टमेंट होगा कि नहीं। पिछले 10 साल में हम लोगों ने इस पर कई बार बात की, हर बजट के पहले ये मुद्दा हम लोग उठाते हैं। मुझे ये सेंस है और ये बिल्कुल मेरा कंजेक्चर है, हो सकता है मैं गलत हूं, कि डिसइन्वेस्टमेंट में या बड़े पीएसयू के प्राइवेटाइजेशन में प्राइम मिनिस्टर मोदी का कोई ज्यादा यकीन है नहीं, क्योंकि अब उन्होंने वो रास्ता ढूंढ लिया है जिससे अपने पीएसयूज को वो स्ट्रेंथन कर सके और एक्चुअली बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग परफॉर्मेंसेस सामने हम देख ही रहे हैं। तो मुझे लगता है कि उनका फोकस इसी बात पे रहेगा कि पीएसयूज को और मजबूत करो और उनका कॉर्पोरेटाइजेशन कर लो भले, ताकि मार्केट का, ग्लोबल इन्वेस्टर का भरोसा उस पर बढ़े। तो मुझे लगता है कि ग्लोबल इन्वेस्टर्स को पीएसयू कैसे अट्रैक्टिव लगे ये उनके दिमाग में है। और प्राइवेटाइजेशन की बात अब मुझे लगता है कि हम लोगों को करना बंद कर देना चाहिए। मुझे नहीं लगता कि कोई ओवरऑल प्राइवेटाइजेशन वो करने जा रहे हैं।
बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट बात है कि प्राइवेटाइजेशन की ज़रूरत ही उस तरह से ख़त्म हो गई क्योंकि पीएसयूज इस कदर री रेट हो चुके हैं। संजय जी, जब हम टर्म 3 की बात करते हैं और हमें ये 4 जून को पक्का पता चलेगा कि अगर हम मोदी 3.0 देख रहे हैं, तो सवाल आता है इन्वेस्टर्स, पॉलिसी वॉचर्स के मन में कि अब क्या रिफॉर्म्स बचे हैं। काफ़ी सारे तो हो गए हैं, टर्म 3 में अब क्या होने जा रहा है, इस पर कोई हिंट आपको मिला?
नहीं, मुझे लगता है कि सभी लोग इस बात के लिए माइंडफुल हैं और सारी बातें एक इंटरव्यू में या चुनाव के कॉन्टेक्स्ट में होना मुश्किल है। जो एक्सपेक्टेशन है इन्वेस्टर कम्युनिटी की ग्लोबली वो ये है कि इंडिया बहुत ही ओवर रेगुलेटेड देश है। तो रेगुलेशन को कैसे ठीक किया जाए, कैसे बॉटल नेकिंग को दूर किया जाए, कैसे लॉजिस्टिक्स के खर्चे कम किए जाएं, एक और क्लैरिटी मिलती है। एग्रीकल्चर वर्सेस मैन्युफैक्चरिंग के बारे में प्राइम मिनिस्टर क्या सोचते हैं। मैन्युफैक्चरिंग एक बहुत बड़ा पिवट होने के लिए होना जरूरी है, ये बात अब सबको बहुत क्लियर है, पहले से भी क्लियर थी, लेकिन अब उसमें काम करना पड़ेगा। उसी का संबंध है कि आप अपने कॉस्ट को कैसे कम करो, ईज ऑफ बिजनेस को कैसे बढ़ाओ, लिप सर्विस पे नहीं एक्चुअली। तो डिसीजन मेकिंग के लिए जब वो बताते हैं कि कैबिनेट नोट्स जब मैं मंगवाता हूं तो देखता हूं कि बेस्ट प्रैक्टिसेस वर्ल्ड की क्या हैं, एक तो उससे कंपेयर करो, और दूसरा ये देखता हूं कि कैबिनेट नोट पहले 3 महीने में बनते थे, अब 1 महीने में बनते हैं, इसको मैं और कम करने जा रहा हूं। तो कई सारे स्विच बोर्ड जो इकोनॉमी के ग्रोथ को एक्सेलरेट करें, एक साथ स्विच ऑन करना पड़ेगा। ये मुझे लगता है कि उनको क्लैरिटी है और वो बहुत माइंडफुल है कि प्रॉब्लम्स कहाँ कहाँ हैं और उस स्लोनेस को कैसे फाइट आउट किया जाए। मुझे लगता है कि उसकी चिंता इनको बहुत ज्यादा होगी, क्योंकि थर्ड टर्म होगा। थर्ड टर्म में प्रॉमिसेस, होप, वेलफेयर की डिलीवरी, पॉवर्टी से लोगों को बाहर लाना, सोशल सेफ्टी नेट क्रिएट करना, उसके बाद अब अगर प्रॉस्पेरिटी चाहिए, इक्वालिटी चाहिए, जॉब्स चाहिए, तो हार्ड काम यहां से शुरू होगा। मुझे लगता है जो बातें मेरे इंटरव्यू में उन्होंने कही वो ये उनका माइंडफुलनेस दिखा रहा था कि अब यहां से बहुत सीरियस ऑडेशियस हार्ड वर्क शुरू होता है।
संजय जी, एक और चीज जो प्राइम मिनिस्टर ने आपको कही थी इज दैट विद द सपोर्ट from the states, India could essentially go into uncharted territories. What do you think he meant by that? Was it the labor reforms he was referring to?
Labor and land, both. ये जो 2 चीजें बहुत क्रिटिकल हैं जिस पर काम करना जरूरी है। मुझे लगता है कि उनका इंडिकेशन यही है कि स्टेट्स को अब आपस में कंपटीशन है और सभी लोग बड़े प्रोजेक्ट अपने यहाँ लेके आना चाहते हैं, तो उनको जो नेशनल लेवल के रिफॉर्म्स हुए हैं उनके साथ मैच करना पड़ेगा और शायद उससे भी ज्यादा बोल्ड काम करने पड़ेंगे। तो मुझे लगता है जब मैंने पूछा था कि बोल्ड डिसीजंस, तो मेरा मतलब यही था कि अगर आप एक गिफ्ट सिटी बना लेते हैं और कोई स्टेट हर्डल कर रहा है आपके लिए, जो मैंने पूछा नहीं, लेकिन वो इनहेरेंट है इस तरह के सवालों में। तो क्या आप और ज्यादा स्पेशल इकोनॉमिक जोन बना दें? बॉटल नेकिंग दूर होनी चाहिए, और इस मामले में नोइंग प्राइम मिनिस्टर मोदी, एग्जीक्यूशन पे उनका बड़ा फोकस रहता है, माइक्रो डिटेलिंग पे बड़ा फोकस रहता है। आप देख लीजिए कितने बड़े बड़े फिजिकल इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर जो बनने में कितने साल लगते, बहुत तेजी से काम हुआ है उस पर, क्योंकि उनको वो एक जिद है। अब उनको मालूम है कि जो कोर इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर है, ये विजिबल इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर नहीं, कोर इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर टू ड्राइव द इकोनॉमी, उस पर फोकस करना पड़ेगा, जिसका ताल्लुक रिफॉर्म से है, एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव रिफॉर्म से है, क्विक डिसीजन मेकिंग से है। एक चीज का जिक्र ना मैंने किया ना उन्होंने किया, लेकिन मैं कह रहा हूं अपने ऑडियंसेस को वॉच करने के लिए, जुडिशियरी में चेंजेस, जुडिशियरी के रिफॉर्म, ये भी एक तीसरा बहुत बड़ा एजेंडा होने जा रहा है आने वाले दिनों में, और ये कंसेंसस से होना चाहिए, ऐसा मुझे लगता है। तो मैं समझता हूं कि जितने बिल्डिंग ब्लॉक्स हैं इंडिया को 5 ट्रिलियन इकोनॉमी बनाने के लिए, और उसके बाद उसके भी आगे बढ़ाने के लिए, उसमें बहुत तेजी से काम करना जरूरी होगा। ये एक पॉलिटिकल चैलेंज भी है, और ही इज एस्ट्यूट पॉलिटिशियन, सो ही नोज इट।
संजय जी, एक आखिरी सवाल मेरी तरफ से एटलीस्ट। आपने इसका जिक्र भी किया पहले कि ही स्पोक अबाउट लोअर टैक्सेशन, और टैक्सेशन बेस, इफ टैक्सेशन इज लोअर देन द बेस इंक्रीजेस और पार्टिसिपेशन बढ़ता है। हर बजट के पहले कैपिटल मार्केट्स एंशियस होती हैं कि भाई क्या कोई कैपिटल गेन्स टैक्स टिंकरिंग या इनहेरेंस टैक्स आ सकता है क्या आप उसमें रीड बिटवीन द लाइंस करते हैं कि मे बी इतना संभावना शायद कम हो, क्योंकि उन्होंने बताया कि टैक्सेशन लो हो तो पार्टिसिपेशन बढ़ जाएगा?
मुझे नहीं लगता। मार्केट एक तरफ हम उसको बहुत कहते हैं कि वाइज एंटिटी है, दूसरी तरफ वो थोड़ा हमेशा एंक्शस और नर्वसनेस में भी रहता है। अभी जो पिछले दिनों बात हुई नीरज कि सीटें कितने आएंगी, इसके कारण मार्केट इधर उधर हो रहा था, मुझे एक्चुअली ऐसा नहीं लगता है कि मार्केट उस वजह से इधर उधर हो रहा था। मार्केट ऑलरेडी ओवरबॉट था, और उसमें लोगों ने अपनी जो प्रॉफिट बुकिंग करनी थी कर ली। जो SIP के पैसे हैं बड़े पैमाने पर आ रहे हैं, तो मार्केट थोड़ा सा जो नर्वस एंटिटीज होते हैं विद इन मार्केट, वो इस तरह की रीडिंग करते हैं। मैं नहीं समझता हूं कि कैपिटल गेन्स जैसी चीजें जो हैं वो एजेंडा पे होंगी, क्योंकि वो एक ऐसा काम है कि बहुत क्रिटिकल काम नहीं है, जो बड़े बिल्डिंग ब्लॉक्स हैं इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ के। उसमें जो एक बात और कही चलते चलते, मैं उसको हाईलाइट करना चाहूंगा। आपने नोटिस किया होगा एक एक वर्ड में उन्होंने कहा, लेकिन क्या क्या जिक्र किया? मैन्युफैक्चरिंग, डिफेंस, EVs, ग्रीन हाइड्रोजन और डिजिटल पे उनका बहुत ज्यादा फोकस था। AI का उन्होंने जिक्र किया। मुझे ये वो वर्टिकल्स, वो सेक्टर्स नजर आते हैं जहां बहुत एक्टिविटी होगी। आपके कैपिटल मार्केट के और स्टॉक मार्केट के पर्सपेक्टिव से इन सेक्टर्स की एक्टिविटी और वहां क्या पोटेंशियल है और क्या पॉलिसी इंटरवेंशन हो सकते हैं, ये मुझे लगता है कि आगे का फोकस एरिया होना चाहिए।
ऑलराइट, तो बहुत ही ज़्यादा क्लूज हमें मिले हैं. दिस हैज़ बीन एन इंसाइटफुल इंटरव्यू एंड आई थिंक वन विच विल एज वेल इवन आफ्टर द 4th of June. If people go back and see this interview, it's more than just the political heat and dust. So very, very valid, especially for NDTV Profit viewers. Thank you so much, Sanjay ji, for taking out the time this morning and talking to us about the hot button topic for the entire market. All right, we'll take a very, very short break at this time, but on the other side we get you the F&O setup. Agam joins us to set the stage for you before opening trade.
Welcome. This is India Market Open. We are taking stock of the futures and options space now, how things have panned out. And perhaps we can get our expert now to talk to us about the election trade. But before that, let's take a look at how things have panned out as far as markets are concerned. Now, Saturday was a truncated session. It was a special session, so we didn't see too much traction when it comes to the Nifty or the Bank Nifty for that matter. Both the indices were marginally in the green with very little traction when it comes to the futures. As you can see on your screen there, the Nifty and the Bank Nifty, the picture is very much the same. Let's move on and talk about the options market. And when it comes to the Nifty options market, again, we didn't see too much traction on an intraday basis. But if you consider just the overall open interest, it does seem like at the moment we're starting to see a lot more traction around the 23,000 mark. So let's have the overall open interest for the Nifty on your screen as well. As you can see, the 23,000 call looking at more and more addition. But remember that this is the weekly options expiry for this coming week. Now, on the lower end, of course, a lot of activity has now shifted back from 22,000 to around 22,400 in terms of puts. And we have a significant amount of OI spread out between 22.2, 22.3, 22.4 and 22.500 puts as well. 22.500 is going to be an important mark because we are actually seeing the Nifty move in and out of that particular level. Again, today it will be another important key level to watch out for. Let's move on and talk about the 6th of June expiry now. And we're looking at more and more positions being built in. But remember that last week we were talking about a significant amount of open interest distribution around the 22,000 mark, both in terms of calls as well as puts. We move on and now all the activity has shifted to around 22,500. And that remains because that was the next level to watch out for, considering the Nifty is also around this mark. But what is now standing out to be, a little bit more, perhaps what's taking a little bit more importance is, as you can see, the 23,000 call on the 6th of June expiry, which, and it's just the call. We don't have as much traction in puts, naturally, perhaps unexpected lines. The question really is that is smart money actually buying these calls? Because it's not like these calls are, cheap at the moment, considering we're looking at an expanded premium on expectations of higher volatility as we move into the outcome of the general election in the first week of June, which means that it's a wait and watch on that one. But, from a writer's point of view, that's how we tend to look at things, which means that we'll go with the assumption that there is a significant amount of writing coming through around the 23,000 call. Now, we'll very quickly taking a look at the stocks. We didn't see as much traction given that it was a truncated session. So longs for IEX, BHEL and Escorts among stocks which saw unwinding. Let's pull that list up as well. Again, short covering for BEL, Concor, Z Entertainment and Bandhan Bank. BEL, of course, coming up with a strong set of numbers. So, of course, the entire defense pack stays in focus. But with that said, let's take a look at what our experts are suggesting and the kind of positions in options that can be deployed, keeping the big first week of June in mind. Well, let's get in Amit Goel of Amit Ventures, who's joining us on the show. Amit, good morning. Thank you so much for joining in. Amit, I reckon that we can now talk about perhaps an option structure that you're looking to deploy as far as marks go, keeping the outcome of elections in mind. Can you take us through that?
Yeah, hi. Good morning, Agam, and good morning to all your viewers. I'm here today to discuss a very interesting setup, especially keeping in mind the upcoming elections event. The simple trade here is, I'm not really looking to take a directional bet because on election day, once the results are getting out during the live market on 4th of June, it could turn out to be a very, very sharp, volatile and a binary event sort of a day. So what I would like to do is I would like to try and capture some bit of option structure that is offering us some bit of a trade here. The structure that I'm looking at is purely from a slightly more professional method of trading of options. I'm looking at the differentials in the implied volatilities on the 5th of June expiry for Bank Nifty and the 6th of June's expiry. Now, if you notice that obviously the premiums for the 5th of June expiry are going to be elevated because we are running into the event at that point in time. So what I'm trying to look at is I'm trying to set up a calendar spread at 50,000 levels for the 5th of June and the 26th of June. We sell the 50,000 call of 5th of June expiry and we buy the 26th June expiry 50,000 call, this becomes a simple calendar spread on the OTM spread. This is obviously a little bullish view, okay, but there is some bit of risk on the downside. In order to protect the downside risk, we will also look to set up along with this bear put spread on for the 5th of June expiry again, in which we will buy the 48,500 5th of June put, and we will sell the 48,000 put of 5th of June. Now this is a slightly complex structure, but this gives us a protection of a wide range of from 46,000 to nearly 52,000 on the upside. Now what happens between this, if I were to compare this with a short strangle, in a short strangle, it's a highly gamma negative trade. When we speak of gamma, any sharp movement on either side causes a lot of mark-to-market pain. But in this structure which we have constructed, gamma is very much under control. So any sharp movement does not cause us problems, and we are allowed to stay in this trade for a long period of time to get the theta benefit here.
Right, Amit, let me come in on this one because this is a slightly complicated structure. Let's break this down into two parts. The first bit here is where you're actually playing the calendar, and this is a slightly bullish structure, and this is over two different legs, as in over two different expiries. Can you take us through just this bit and what the thought process is in the event of the markets moving significantly higher?
Sure. So what I noticed between the two expiries of 5th of June and 26th of June for Bank Nifty especially is the differential between the IVs, which is the implied volatilities, is fairly elevated. In the sense, the 5th of June expiry, 50,000 call IV is trading at about 26-27 percent levels. Whereas the 26th of June is around 23. So I'm getting about 3 to 4% of variance or the differential, which I'm trying to capture. So when I set up this sort of, I'm trying to capture this IV differential. Hence, I've set up a calendar spread here, selling the shorter dated expiry, which is a higher expensive, higher priced IV, which is 27, and you buy the 23% IV here. Now, if the market moves inside or around 50,000, which also happens to be the previous all-time high for us, we will extract a lot of profits here. Right, we are trying to pin that level. But setting up an OTM calendar spread, which is slightly away from the current market price, also exposes us to the downside risk, which is second part of the trade, which if you allow me, I will then explain the second
Absolutely.
part.
No, Amit, go on. So basically the second part of the trade is where you're playing a simple bear put spread, in this case, in order to arrest a significant downside should we expect a lot more volatility, a sharp downturn. Take us through that now. How does that protection work?
So we have already set up the OTM call spread on the upside, which is essentially the bias on the trade, or the tilt we have is on the bullish side. I mean, if the Prime Minister of the country comes and says on our channel to be bullish on the markets, who am I to argue with that, right? Sure. So, but as a trader, we need to protect we need to hedge our positions. So any downside movement needs to be controlled. For that, we are setting up a 5th of June expiries simple bear put spread, in which we buy the 48,500 put of 5th of June and we sell the 48,000 put of the 5th of June expiry itself. What happens here is this gives us a lot of protection on the downside right up till 46,000 levels. And even if the price goes, even if the market goes beyond that, the mark-to-market losses on this entire trade on the downside beyond 46,000 is a paltry 1,500 rupee levels per lot basis. So it's a fairly protected, well-hedged position. And from a Greek's perspective, from an options Greek's perspective, it has a very well-balanced Greeks where it is delta neutral, controlled gamma, and it yields a good amount of theta also. The exit on this trade or the make of this trade here, Agam, is we are looking at a max profit, a theoretical max profit of about 9,000 and a max risk of 6,000. This 6,000 is manifested on expiry day beyond 54,000. So we are not looking to wait that much long, and plus that is also about 6,000 points away from the current market price, which again is a very distant dream. So what we would like to look at is, we would like to target about 3,000, 3,500 rupees on this trade, which, given the margin, the net margin on this, which is about 40,000, yields us about a very cool 7.5% yield. And we will keep a rupee stop loss of about 1,500 rupees. I'm not looking to make any adjustments in this trade. It's a simple trade wherein we control the Greeks of the options trade. We wait for the theta to kick in. And when we are making about 2,500 to 3,000 rupees, which would manifest by next week thereabouts, we will look to take exit before the actual event. So we would have made the money before the actual event when we don't expose ourselves to the binary movement of the market on the exchange.
Right. Fair enough, Amit. So what Amit is basically saying is that on the first end, in terms of the positive, in terms of in the event of the Bank Nifty moving higher, he's actually deploying a calendar spread to take advantage of the differential between implied volatility, which actually at the end of the day means it's a reflection of your option premium. So he's actually deploying that calendar spread. And of course, on the lower end, to protect us from seeing a significant sharp drop, he's also deploying a bear put spread. Now, on an overall basis, he's covered a lot of areas, but while there is a max profit and a max loss, what Amit is also suggesting is that for every one lot deployment, well, one should look to book profits at around 3,000 per lot, and perhaps keep a rupee stop loss of around 1,500 rupees per share, and per lot, and that would give you a rough risk to reward ratio of 1:2. Amit, am I correct? If you could just give me an affirmative on that one.
Absolutely, Agam. You've explained it very well. Thanks.
All right, Amit, on that note, taking a moment to thank you for joining us and taking us through that option structure that we can, in fact, deploy, keeping the outcome of elections in mind in the first week of June. We'll be, of course, be watching out for that. This is a very interesting option structure, certainly. But, well, with that, we shift focus back to the markets. Back to you, Tamanna.
I like how Amit referred to this as our channel, and I hope our viewers feel like that. This is really an effort to bring in all of that intelligence in one place, and you guys are as much a stakeholder as we are. Now, having said that, let me welcome this morning Rajat Bose. He's a SEBI registered research analyst, and Sunny Agarwal, head of fundamental equity research, SBI Cap Securities, with us as well. Good morning to both of you. Rajat, let me begin with you first. On the levels that you see today, are you seeing on the charts some of the confidence coming back? I mean, that's the conversation, that's the narrative. Are the Nifty, Bank Nifty charts reflecting that?
Yeah, narrative is to some extent getting reflected on the Nifty performance. I mean, and the way Nifty is moving up, and there is a bullish crossover that is going to happen if Nifty continues to move up. That would be the 9-unit and the 20-unit exponential moving average. If that happens, there would be further, there would be further upside in the immediate future. So the levels that we need to closely watch out if there were to be any profit taking, that is 22,350 to about 22,225. So 350 to 225, this 125 support range, unless it gets broken, I don't think you would have much to worry. Initially, it is likely to move up, and the immediate resistance on the upside would be, say, around 22,620. After that, 22,734 and 22,800. So these are the resistance levels. Now, there can be more upside. The bias is more on the bullish side. Now, coming to Bank Nifty, what I would say is that Bank Nifty needs to take out 48,500 decisively. Once 48,500 is decisively taken out, then you can expect it to move up to 48,800 to about 49,000. And above 49,000, Bank Nifty will show strong bullishness. That is the kind of scenario that I can envisage at the moment. and the Nifty VIX, though it has moved up again, so unless it moves up substantially in today's or maybe tomorrow's session, I don't think you would have much to worry.
What would be your top calls for the day, Rajat?
I have one large cap stock, that is ACC. This cement stock looks pretty good. I feel it is on a breakout mode. Once it moves above 25.50, there will be a clear breakout. In that case, it will be moving towards 2600, and the next target would be 2655. I would suggest a stop loss of 2479 on closing price basis. Then there is a small cap stock that I would like to recommend. Disclosure has it that I personally do not hold any position in it, but long back I have recommended these stocks to my clients. So Kothari Petrochem, it is showing a lot of bullishness, and its recent results show that the quarter on quarter, that is the last March quarter 2023 and March quarter 2024, there is almost 3 times operating cash flow generation. That's a very positive, and they have also reduced debt, and the chart also looks strongly bullish. So I would say put a stop loss below 129. It's a short term to short to medium term trade. 157 and 172 should be the targets for Kothari Petrochem.
Interesting. Rajat, you've given us a clue. We'll tell our oil and gas analysts to look at the cash flows of Kothari Petro now that you've spoken about this. But thanks for that. Well, lots of newsmakers, and that's what we got to focus on. And let's get in Sunny Agarwal of SBI Cap Securities in the conversation as well. Sunny, can't take your eyes off what's happening to PSUs and the results and the commentaries that are coming in. If HAL was not enough, the numbers from BEL, the commentary from Concor all seem positive. Talk to us about both BEL and Concor, because they will likely start off higher. What should an investor do if she or he wants to buy these stocks afresh? Would they be good to buy after the gap up today?
Yeah, good morning, Niraj. Always a pleasure talking to you. Definitely a solid set of numbers by BEL during the weekend, backed by a robust order book. I think stunner numbers. At the same time, what I feel is that the kind of order book on which BEL is sitting, I think the performance should continue in the next year, that is FY25. But if I look at valuation, I think now post recent run up, the stock is trading close to its fair value band of 560, 570 rupees. And I feel a buy on dip should be the right strategy as far as the BEL is concerned. Moving on to Concor, I think the big development on LLF, that is land lease licensing fees, the clarification on that front is really encouraging. And I think there is still a lot of scope in Concor to make a money. So I think our fair value of Concor is close to 1,300, 1,400 rupees with investment horizon of 12 to 18 months. I think Concor is a relatively better bet at a current juncture as compared to BEL if somebody want to ride with a medium to long term.
Did you say your target price is 1,400 to 1,500? So if Concor starts off higher, you'd still be comfortable investing in it?
What I would suggest is that staggered buying is something which is that strategy one can adopt as far as Concor is concerned, because post result also we have seen one big up move in Concor also. So a gradual buying is recommended, because we all know the volatility pertaining to the election outcome will still persist over the period of next 8 to 10 trading session, and gradual buying is recommended as far as Concor is concerned.
Right. Sunny, of course, we've talked about a whole bunch of these PSU stocks. So I'll come back to you on a few others in a minute. But technically as well, we should be focusing on a couple of these names that have been, on the tear. And Rajat, I don't know whether we've talked about BDL with you specifically. Even on Saturday, on a special trading day, the stock managed to eke out 18% gains. It's up about almost 40% in the last week of trade. From this level, Is it still looking like a good buy technically, and this is more short-term trading, if I may?
Can you tell me the name of the stock?
Bharat Dynamics, BDL.
BDL, okay.
And along with that, HAL also would be helpful. We talked about this last week, but yeah.
I mean, see what's happening in BDL. BDL, on the last day, it showed a strong volume activity, or rather, on Friday, it showed a strong volume activity, and it was a record volume. And when a stock gets past a major resistance zone, which is about, say, 2100, after that, if this kind of buying has happened, that means this stock is headed for higher levels. Any dip should be used to buy. If it were to move, if it were to open higher, then wait for a bit, because from the level of 1800, say, about 5 trading sessions back, it is now 2440. So it has already moved up 1/3. So you need to buy it, but buy it on a dip. That is your BDL. And the other stock that you mentioned was
Nautics, HAL,
right?
Yes.
See, HAL, it is almost a similar situation, but HAL did not show as much effervescence as, say, the BDL. But HAL now needs to take out 4750. Once 4750 is taken out, it can move up towards 5000. But HAL is highly overstretched from the moving averages, especially the 20-day moving average is still around, say, 4,000. So 20% above the 20-day moving average means there would be a reversing to the mean kind of a movement that can happen. So if you buy here, be prepared to buy on dips. Otherwise, you wait for a dip and then buy.
Wait for a dip and then buy. That's the word coming in on HAL. BDL looking a lot more constructive than HAL. Implied Nifty indicating to marginally higher start this morning. Remember, the bias clearly is on the upside. Then markets were up 2.5% last week, and the momentum is expected to continue into this holiday shortened week as well. We'll take a break. We'll come back and we'll gear you up for pre-open and market opening, so stay tuned.
less than 30 seconds for the first pre-open rates to hit. It's going to be an interesting morning. Rajat Bose and Sunny Agarwal with us this morning. Sunny, let's take a look at some of the stocks that have been in news, and I wanted your view on Balkrishna Industries. We already saw a bit of a run-up in that truncated Saturday session, good numbers, positive brokerage notes out on it this morning. Do you like Balkrishna Industries? Would you accumulate at this point?
Yes, I think relatively better performance from Balkrishna Industry compared to other tire peers. I think yes, that definitely add in the portfolio at a current juncture. Maybe buy on dip is the right strategy. Post we have seen already a big run up in the stock, so buy on dip is the right strategy as far as Balkrishna Industries is concerned.
Okay, you like Balkrishna Industries. That's one to watch out for this morning. Rajat, any take there?
This is an emerging blue chip of highway tires they do. And it was forming a saucer, and the saucer has been completed on the last trading session at 27.97, roughly 2800. Now, there was a huge gap up, and then this is actually a hangman pattern at the top. So, Balkrishna will be bullish for a long-term investor. But Balkrishna, if any short-term trader is buying at current levels, then there could be some problem. So I would say, I feel the gap between say around 2750 to about say 2675 or whatever, this gap is going to be filled. So buy on dips, but don't buy it right now. And from the 50-day moving average, it is about 25% higher. So it has been on a tear, on a vertical run. So you better be careful getting into it right now. If anybody has already purchased, one should book some profits at least.
So, I mean, it's in the pre-open rates at least on a, upswing. And having a good morning. We should refresh that actually. I think it's about 5.5% up now on Balkrishna Industries. But those pre-open rates, of course, will be quite volatile over there. RVNL is the other one that I wanted a view on. And Sunny, let me come to you first. So railway stocks have been fairly good, decent. RVNL, a couple of news flow in terms of order book last couple of days. Do you still like it at the current valuations?
Yeah, definitely. I think a decent set of number by RVNL, but only one thing which concerns me is that for FY25, I think the pace of growth is reducing now. I think the management has guided that the top line growth will be to the tune of 5 to 6% for FY25, and the profit will grow ahead of top line. So 15% is the growth which our management has guided for as far as profitability is concerned in FY25. I think at this slower pace of growth, maybe Street would not like to assign a higher valuation multiple to RVNL. I think the fair value band of RVNL stand close to 325, 340 rupees. So maybe kind of 8 to 10% further up move from here. So I feel not much upside and would like to retain a neutral view as of now. The only big trigger for RVNL and for post-election, if they get some bigger order from Christ on Vande Bharat front, then that can be a next trigger in terms of order win as far as RVNL is concerned. But as of now for FY25, I think earning growth is likely to be muted at 15%. Okay.
Well, some stocks that might be reacting, and we'll of course revisit these rates at the pre-open session ends, but Kalpataru Projects has won 3 Aramco contracts worth 7,550. No reaction per se there. Good results and good guidance from data patterns. Wonder that stock reacts or no. And 2 chemical names, Anupam Rasayan as well as Deepak Nitrite came out with numbers. In Anupam's case, the numbers looked slightly wobbly. In Deepak Nitrite's case, the margins came off, but the phenolics division did well. I think we'll wait for these rates to settle down before we try and talk too much more about it. Rajat, can I come to you on Vodafone? That's the other one where brokerages have sounded a lot more constructive this quarter than the last. It's probably not showing a trend, but is it showing some bottom formation? Would you trade this one if you were a positional trader?
Well, this is actually, it's not, I wouldn't say it is bottom. I would say that it is now testing its 200-day exponential moving average and bouncing back. While 200-day exponential moving average is giving it support, 50-day is resisting it on the upside. It needs to take out 14 to about 1470. If it manages to do that, then you will see it will be gaining bullish traction and further upside can happen. But major resistance, of course, will be there around 18 rupees because there had been two tops, some kind of a double top, you can say, that needs to be taken out for long-term bullishness. But close to the 200-day moving average, which is around, I think, 1250 or so, this stock should be bought. Yes, it is around 12 rupees itself. So this stock should be bought at current levels for any long-term investor. I see it is changing patterns for long-term bullishness.
And you've got a whole lot of smaller names that have reported numbers, and we will be expecting to see a reaction on that in market opening. Triveni Engineering, KRPL, Shankara Building Products, IRFC, City Union Bank, Bharat Electronics, Oil India, ONG's the big ones, India Cement, Patel Engineering, to name a few. Sunny, from the earnings we saw between Saturday and Monday evening, any standout earnings, anything that you like or you're constructive on after you saw a whole bunch of mid-cap names reported over the last few days?
Yeah, I think Phoenix Mill has reported a good set of number during the weekend. So what we have seen there, new properties like Indore, Ahmedabad, and two more properties have contributed very handsomely to the earning growth. And this clearly reflects that the urban consumption story still continue to remain strong. Existing properties have reported growth of 7 to 8%, whereas new properties have grown aggressively. So I think Phoenix Mill is one stock to be kept on radar, again from a short to medium term perspective. In addition to that, Shankara Buildcon, again a very strong set of numbers from Shankara Buildcon. Record revenue and profitability for FY24. And it seems that despite of so much pressure on building material as a segment, the company has done well on both steel as well as non-steel segment. So this one stock will be in the focus today. Today there is a con call, maybe further update we will get to know on strategy front for FY25 and 26. So Shankara Buildcon is the one company which is on my radar. Electrotherm is again one company, a small 800 crore market cap company. They have reported a kind of 100 crore profitability. So again, this company will be in focus. Auto ancillary company SJS Enterprises, they have reported a good set of numbers. So we have seen 85 crore PAT delivery from SJS Enterprises in line with their earlier guidance, growing at 25% plus number. At the same time, post their acquisition of WPI, Walter Pack India, we have seen their portfolio diversification in terms of two-wheeler, four-wheeler, and consumer durable segment. So SGS Enterprises will be on radar today. In addition to that, Nesco, Mumbai-based commercial real estate player, they have reported a decent set of number during the weekend. So their Bombay Exhibition Center is back on track post-COVID and have started generating a sustainable income. In addition to that, we are seeing an expansion on IT Park also. So Nesco is one stock again which will remain in focus today.
All right, let's go across to Harsh, that time of the morning where we get you the top brokerage notes of the day. Harsh, what's on your list?
Well, first off, you have Concor. Very solid set of numbers, but even more importantly, very good guidance coming through. With regard to FY25, you are expecting good volume growth, domestic at 25%, that's what the commentary says, Exim at 15%, and Citi has, in fact, hiked their target price on Concor from 1224 to 1340, which is a 22% upside from here, on primarily on the back of that guidance. So, of course, the guidance, the stronger guidance is largely because of the shift from road to rail, and they are expecting a couple of key triggers going forward as well. One, lower land lease fee, which is of course a cost, and a possible privatization piece coming through probably post-elections, that could possibly lead to a bit of outperformance on the stock. They've also tweaked their FY25 EPS estimates marginally and rolled forward their March 26 estimates, and which is why they've hiked the target price on Concor. So Concor will be in focus on the back of that. The other one is Anupam Rasayan. Slightly disappointing set of numbers. Jefferies continues to maintain and underperform. While the revenue was largely in line, probably a bit of a beat, but EBITDA was a miss and PAT largely in line. The disappointment has come in from the working capital piece as well as from the product mix, and that's probably led to the EBITDA shrink as well. What you're seeing in terms of, or rather the EBITDA miss as well, the working capital has risen sharply and therefore operating cash flows have fallen. There's also been a rise in net debt where Anupam Rasayan is concerned. They've spoken about optimism in pharma and fluoropolymer, but limited upside on large LOI pipeline is what Jefferies is penciling in. They're building for a gradual recovery. Estimates remain unchanged. Target price 565 at 28% downside from here.
All right, Harsh there with the top brokerage calls. Rajat, I just wanted to get your take on BEL. I think we discussed it with Sunny earlier, good set of numbers, etc. But in pre-open session, at least the stock's doing very well. We'll wait for more details from the con call, but is it something that you like?
The BEL is actually rising on rising volume.
Okay.
Each day it is posting higher volumes. I'm not looking at the Saturday's volume because that was a truncated session. So I'm not taking that into account. But otherwise, BEL generally after this kind of a breakout tends to move further up. So I'm looking at 268 to be the first resistance. But it can, before it gives any correction, it may go up to 283 as well. So, but we need to see whether it crosses 268 decisively or not. If it does, then we will see a higher levels.
Taru projects now at least closing the pre-open session nearly 15% up, 14.5% up on at least the rates which I am seeing.
Yeah, must be the two exchanges. But
So this on the BSE at least. So that's looking good. BEL interesting this morning. So is Bharat Dynamics that we've been talking about. Vedanta is the other one that's showing an uptick, and Vedanta has been an interesting sort of a story in terms of I think a change in mood as well as far as investors are concerned. Sunny, your take on Vedanta?
Yeah, definitely. Again, we are also constructive on Vedanta. I mean, the kind of rally which we are seeing across the commodities, whether it is copper, silver, or zinc, I think Vedanta is well placed to ride on that. And I think with the especially the issue of bond personal debt at the promoter level behind us, I think Vedanta is on our radar also from a medium to long term perspective. I think the fair value of Vedanta is close to 600 rupees. I think this year Vedanta has got a potential to generate EBITDA to the tune of 40 to 50,000 crore and trading at close to 9 times EV EBITDA. I think still there is a lot of value which is left on table as far as Vedanta is concerned. In addition to that, the proposed demerger, once it is through, I think there will be a lot of value unlocking, wherein individual investor will get to play ride on the individual commodities through the individual companies.
Okay, so Vedanta looks interesting right now. Just quick take, Rajat, on Vedanta.
Vedanta is a strong buy because its 440 high that was recorded in 2022 has been decisively taken out, and it has done it with good amount of volume activity. So I'm looking at 538. But I would suggest your viewers buy mining, minerals and metals kind of stocks like Vedanta for long term, because there had not been much of an investment between 2011 and current date as per Jeremy Grantham. So there would be a huge bullishness going forward in this sector.
Rajat, lovely to hear stuff around Jeremy Grantham being also spoken while being spoken about trade. I mean, there are not too many people who come as good as he was. So yes, or he is, as the case may be. So yeah, for sure. Rajat, if I had to pin you down, 20 seconds, one top trading call for the day today, 20 seconds, what would that be?
I would say BEL. BEL looks very good. So you can buy BEL at current levels for further upside.
Rajat, it's 9% higher, 283. You will buy it at 283?
In that case, you buy Coterie Pioneer. It has given a very good, very good result, very good chart pattern. Why not?
Got it. Okay, so Coterie, so Rajat Bose is giving that cash call as his top call for the day today. BEL, of course, has opened up 9% higher, so very difficult to then build out a long. Maybe it does well, but Rajat wants to play safe, and rightly so maybe. But watch out for PSUs, watch out for commodities. If China does do the tinkering around some support for the property sector, and the commodity stocks will be in for a really strong rally. But here come the first rates this Tuesday morning after PM Modi's mega interview. Are the markets excited? For now, flattish to marginally lower, if you will. There has been a rally that we've seen the whole of last week. Let's see if we actually erase these losses as well, because the momentum certainly is in favor. The mid caps and the small caps should come up on your screen, because that's the stronger end of the market. That too today is flattish, actually quite unlike what the implied open was suggesting. Pretty interesting moves that we're seeing. Let's get the heat map up on the screen and show you what's kind of dragging the markets a bit. A bit on Nestle. I remember I had a big mover in the Saturday session too. Mahindra & Mahindra pulls back a little bit from those highs. Autos and HDFC Bank, I think, is the one culprit, about 0.5% lower. Autos, financials are a couple of pockets which are kind of sluggish. As we speak, the indices are flattening out. The number of greens are increasing. What's doing well? ONGC post results, 1.74% higher. Hindalco about 1.25% higher. Not surprised there because of what's happening to commodities by and large. Tech Mahindra, Bharti, actually not too many winners. Frankly, it's ONGC and Hindalco to an extent which are doing okay. The quantum of red much higher, but the losses probably weakening a little bit because the indices have flattened out. Nestle is the top loser. Clearly, the action is in the small cap space and the mid cap space, Tamanna.
Yeah, absolutely. And specifically in some of those stocks that are firing, we're going to pull those up for you. Let's just quickly look at the indices before we do that. So, yeah, the mid cap 150 in the red, about 1/4%. Small caps also now in the red. So, no massive moves, at least in the beginning of this morning. Some specific stocks that are, though, looking very interesting. BEL, one of them, Bharat Electronics, very interesting numbers, a beat on all fronts. That's one of the key reasons that you'll probably see a BEL 7.5% up this morning, even in regular trade after the pre-open session as well. HEL is the other one that we wanted to point out. Great numbers. You had that comment from the Prime Minister as well. Jefferies has set a target of 572. But remember, we also talked about how much HEL has run up. So that's why perhaps you're seeing a 1% up, but in the green. Balakrishna Industries is the other one. In that truncated session on Saturday was the big winner. It continues on a strong footing, 7% up this morning as well on a Balakrishna Industries. Kalpataru Projects was the one with the big news. They have an order with Aramco worth 7,550 crores. Big order for Kalpataru, about 8.5-9% up this morning on that stock. Zydus Life Sciences is the other one that I wanted to pull up. Strong Q4 numbers, and though it came a couple of days ago, it has continued with that up move. So you have pockets of green, but overall I would say still a hesitant and a little careful market, at least in opening trade.
Stock that I can't get my eyes off is BDL. It did a strong move on Friday. Saturday on that special trading day, it was up 18%, another 7% higher. It's 40% higher on that stock in the last 5 trading days. I mean, this is phenomenal in terms of market moves. So BEL and Bharat Dynamics are the two big players in terms of trade. If I had to sort of figure this out, I think it's only a matter of time, maybe a few days or maybe today itself, that HAL will start playing catch up. They usually work in pairs, which is BDL and HAL. HAL currently at 4,743, but 5,000 is what a number of brokerages are predicting on the stock. And with the reassurance and commentary in HAL, just by the fact of being mentioned by the Prime Minister, could get an impetus. May not be today, but over the next few days, a catch up rally on HAL cannot be ruled out. So keep this on your radar as well. Along with that, a whole bunch of earnings, smaller companies, but worth a mention. But before that, RVNL and RITES, both of them back 2 big orders. Those counters should see an up move. RVNL is up 2.5%. RITES not reacting too much, even though the quantum of order was close to about 900 crores. The stock not doing too much in terms of trade. Very disappointing numbers came in from SAIL. Brokerages have been disappointed. Sell calls are coming out. The stock is not doing too badly. Despite that, trades with a small cut of 0.5%. So trying to look beyond that. India Cements against their losses also have narrowed. Their revenues have dropped. The stock is down about 1.5%. Pull up Patel Engineering. I thought those numbers, at least on the face of it, were phenomenal. To say the least, the stock is up 9%. No surprises there. An 80% uptick in profits. Revenue up 12% meant that the counter is doing well. Trident reported numbers as well. So did Citi, Ujjivan Small Finance Bank. Both those counters. Trident disappointing numbers. Stocks on 6%. Ujjivan Small Finance Bank also reported numbers. The stock trades with a flat to slightly positive bias. ONGC, Oil India, we've mentioned. Bharat Electronics, we've mentioned. City Union Bank, that's the other one I want to talk about. Reported numbers, 2% higher on Oil India. Numbers were a beat. City Union down 4% on weak numbers. Triveni Engineering and KRPL, Whirlpool, along with that, and Apollo Microsystems. If we can have 4 of these counters, we should see get a sense of what's happening. Triveni is down 4%. Whirlpool, Apollo Microsystems also on the radar this morning in back of numbers. Keynes Technology, this was quite the stock all through last week. This morning is no different. 9% on Keynes Tech is what we have. So there are some very, very big movers and there are some weak ones, largely on back of earnings, but the sentiment clearly is positive. 2 block deals, you've got CG Power and Indus. Keep that on your radar. CG Power was down 2%. Delivery had very weak earnings. The stock was under pressure on Saturday, and another 8% cut coming in on delivery this morning. So that's the picture we are picking up on. KCP, Apollo Pipes, VR Logistics, Wheels India are some of the other ones that would be seeing an earnings reaction. RCF is up 5%. You've also got Wheels up 15.5%. So these are micro-cap names, but interesting moves. So I know while the benchmark may be looking quiet this morning, some of these micro-cap, small-cap names are having quite the field day, to say the least. I mean, look at Wheels, it's up 16%. Keynes is also doing so well, now that it's a micro-cap. But actually, Rajat, you want to comment on Keynes? Stock had a phenomenal run last week. It's added another 9% in the first 5 minutes of trade. How does this one look on the charts? Is there room to make money on the upside on this one?
It has actually done a phenomenal job over the last 4-5 trading sessions, going up in gaps. But the point that I must mention is that today, after posting a high above, I think 3,600, it is coming down. And this needs to consolidate at current levels because it has left too many gaps on the way up. While it was breaking out around, say, 2,600, everything was bullish for it. But now, in the short term, it has overextended itself. But one thing, any buyer who is buying for the long term at current levels should also buy at lower levels because it has posted a new high after some time. And there is more legs. But today, it is showing a lot of effervescence, a lot of bullishness. But this is unsustainable. This is going to come down.
Okay. Sunny, a clutch of stocks have opened decent. What's picking on from last week's move were those ABB Siemens kind of stocks. If you had them in your portfolio, would you sell them?
No, Niraj. I mean, would not like to sell. Definitely trading at an expensive valuation, north of 70-80 price to earning multiple. But I think the kind of opportunity which India has in terms of cap good stories, in terms of manufacturing, I think I would like to retain them. Maybe I know that for next 3 to 6 months, there may be a time-wise correction. But I doubt the price-wise there may be any correction. But in case somebody is a trader, definitely partial profit booking is advisable at a current juncture. But if somebody is investor, I think maybe next 3 to 6 months, we may see time-wise correction. But price-wise, I don't see any big correction in all these names, whether it is ABB, Siemens, Cummins, or any MNC or cap good companies.
Okay, Sunny, we'll leave it at that. Thanks so much for taking the time out and being with us. Really appreciate your time this morning. Good of you to join us. As the rates shape up, what's also doing well is Hindalco at 670. So Rajat had spoken about how Vedanta is a strong buy. I wonder if the other metal stocks, Rajat, the likes of Hindalco, SAIL, etc., also fit the bill.
Okay, Niraj, one thing I must say that Steel Authority I've never liked because your return on capital is so, it is in the single digits. For investments, that's not a stock you should go for. Anyway, coming to Hindalco, I would say that yes, it is really looking good. There is, it has got bullish traction and it can move up from the current levels to something like 690, 700. So you can get into Hindalco, but leave aside those companies whose return on capital is below 13%, because we assume that 13% is the cost of capital for in our market, in Indian market for industries, that is the cost of capital. If you are not generating your cost of capital, what are you leaving for the investors? Where is the free cash flow?
Okay. Well, point well noted, but the stocks for now seem to be doing okay. Have you ever looked at the charts of a Kalpataru projects, Rajat? The market cap is about 24,000 crores. The stock has given a bit of a bump up, but off the highs of the day. Have you looked at the charts ever of this one?
Kalpataru projects?
Yes, please.
Yeah, I got it. Kalpataru projects, today it is showing a breakout.
Nice.
But the breakout has not been sustained after posting a after posting the high of say 1342, it is close to its day's low. Day's low is to 1265 and it is at 1270. So it is once again coming back into the range. Only when there will be a resounding breakout above the range, which is around say 1300, if that is taken out decisively, then it would be a fresh buy. Otherwise, some profit taking is definitely in order, at least part profit taking.
Okay. Rajat, take a moment to thank you for joining in today and giving us your thoughts. Really appreciate your time.
Most welcome.
Morning.
It's a pleasure for me.
Yeah, the pleasure to have you as well, Rajat. Lovely to hear Jeremy Grantham, by the way, I must repeat. Okay, but it's been lovelier, I must say, to hear PM Modi's thoughts on capital markets. As we hit that break, here's a snippet from their exclusive conversation with NDTV Network's editor-in-chief, Sanjay Pugalia, where PM Modi says that the stock market will break all records on the 4th of June. Listen in.
ऐसा है कि हमारी सरकार ने मैक्सिमम इकोनॉमिक रिफॉर्म्स किए हैं और प्रो एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप पॉलिसीज हमारी इकोनॉमी को बहुत बड़ा बल देती है, स्वाभाविक है, हर कोई आएगा। हम 25,000 से यात्रा शुरू की थी, 75,000 पहुंचे हैं। ये अपने आप में दुनिया में हमारी इज्जत का प्रतिष्ठा भी बढ़ती है। दूसरा, जितने ज्यादा सामान्य नागरिक इस फील्ड में आते हैं, इतनी इकोनॉमी को बहुत बड़ा बल मिलता है जी, बहुत बड़ा मिलता है। और मैं तो चाहता हूँ हर नागरिक के मन में थोड़ी रिस्क टेकिंग कैपेसिटी बढ़नी चाहिए। एब्सोल्युटली, ये बहुत जरूरी होता है। सोच करके ये क्या करूँगा, ऐसी जिंदगी जीने से बात बनती नहीं है। और 4 जून जैसा आपने कहा, जिस दिन चुनाव का नतीजा आएगा, आप उस हफ्ते भर में देखना कि यानी भारत का स्टॉक मार्केट के लिए उसके सारे जो उनके प्रोग्रामिंग के जो प्रोग्रामिंग वाले सारे उनके थक जाएंगे। जी बिल्कुल। अब आप देखिए पीएसयू की कंपनियों का शेयर कहाँ पहुंचा है आज। बिल्कुल ना, पीएसयू के शेयर तो गिरना है, उसका मतलब ही होता था गिरना।
हाँ, ये मेरा ख्याल हुआ है कि पीएसयू तो बंद करने की तरफ आप जाएंगे, लेकिन अब तो पीएसयू
नहीं, स्टॉक मार्केट में उसका वैल्यू बढ़ रहा है जी। बिल्कुल, अनेक गुना बढ़ रहा है जी। बिल्कुल, नेटवर्क में वर्थ उनकी जो है वो भी बढ़ी है जी। तो मैं तो आप HL देख लीजिए, जिसको ये लोग जाकर के जुलूस निकाले थे, मजदूरों को एक करके भड़काने की कोशिश, आज HL इस गति से चौथी तिमाही में उसने रिकॉर्ड प्रॉफिट किया है जी। HL 4,000 करोड़ का प्रॉफिट।
right, welcome. We're talking about RVNL today. The stock is already buzzing, and this company's numbers is something that the street has liked. It's all about the order flows. Q4 has been strong. Now, what is the road ahead looking like? I'm speaking now with Rajesh Prasad, Director Operations at RVNL, joining us on the show. Mr. Prasad, thank you so much for speaking with us here on NDTV Profit. Let's begin with the numbers and what has worked in Q4 for you. The order book has bumped up and the previous quarters were a little weak, but things seem to have turned around in Q4. Is that fair to say?
First of all, good morning, Tamanna ji, and I have been told that Mr. Niraj and Samina would also be joining.
Yes, so, all of us are here.
Yeah, so if you recall, last time we had interacted in the month of January, and that time it was chilly winter, and now today is very hot outside, basically outside my chamber, and so is the market. And just now I was listening the conversation with the Honorable Prime Minister, and he said that all the PSU shares are going up, and let us wait for the 4th June. And see, during the Q3 numbers, if you see, the cumulative number was all-time high. So here I would like to highlight few things about 2023-24. We had all-time high top line, all-time high bottom line. We had commissioned 250 kilometers in one single month. Now the kitty of the railway projects is going down. 100 kilometers in a single day. Then the projects like the rail over rail bridge, then the metros, and then the Karnaprayag Rishikesh project. In that particular project, we had done 60 kilometers of tunneling in one financial year. So if you see the Q3 and Q4, the Q4 is a more working season, number one. Number two, the Q3, if you see the performance, the cumulative performance up to Q3, it was extraordinary, excellent. See, the company's, the basic strength has been, it is highly flexible, it is focused. We have got very less reaction time to mitigate the risk. We have already transitioned from the role of the contract manager to contractor. So the focus was same. Only thing is that the Q3 numbers were slightly weak, which we have overcome during the Q4 time. And in time to come, this company will keep on growing.
Okay, so you have a similar outlook for next financial year. That, of course, is the key question. And I also want to ask you about, because now we know RVNL has seen a robust build-up in its order book. What next? We're speaking in a pre-election period, as in during the elections, waiting for the numbers, etc., to come in, new government. What next for RVNL in terms of this push? Is high-speed rail where you're going next, and can you share anything on this?
Okay, so let me start with the conversation which we had in the month of January. During that time, you asked about the basically roadmap for the top line, bottom line, and that time I had said the 23-24 we will land 21,000 plus and around 1,400 plus the bottom line. So if you are asking me the outlook, the future outlook, so what we see is that the top line will be growing with a slightly lesser percentage, maybe 23,000 plus, but the bottom line will grow. See, this we are eyeing for 1,600, maybe 1,700 plus crores. The order book last time I had said that we are eyeing for 75,000 crores. All the time we want to have basically order book 3 to 4 times of the top line. And so by this principle, we should have the order book of 80,000, 85,000 crores, which we are now having. And aspirational, we would like to have 1 lakh crores of order book. So as far as the order book inflow is concerned, we would like to maintain this. The bottom line, again, I say last time we had around 15% plus. We would like to maintain the same kind of order book. See, if you see the company's performance in last 10 years, every year it has exceeded the performance of the previous financial year. It happened during the COVID. It happened in 23-24, and this will continue in time to come. And if you see the CAGR of this company, I have got few parameters. The PAT has gone up. It is having a CAGR of 19%, around 20%. The turnover is around 16 to 17%. Net worth is again 16%. And the earning per share is 19% plus. So the CAGR is continuously growing. The company is exceeding the performance of the previous financial year. In time to come, you will see so many businesses. Earlier, we used to have only one business, that is the railway client business. Now we are having large number of business. Earlier we were basically swimming in a protected swimming pool. Now it is a very big ocean. Opportunities are endless and galore, but at the same time, there are some risk. We are trying to mitigate the risk. We are allocating the risk factors. So we have got the large number of opportunities in time to come. And if you can ask any other questions related to the project, then I can also amend that. I can basically supplement that.
Mr. Prasad, hi. It's also Samina joining in. Firstly, congratulations. You're doing a phenomenal job, and it's so good to see your earnings, your order wins. The street is excited. Investors are excited. There's so much happening. But let's talk about a recent order win as well. And I want to quickly get a sense of what we can expect going into FY25. We've seen a marginal improvement in your margin picture to about 6.8% for the quarter. Is there a possibility of margins improving further into FY25 as you consolidate your business? And with these significant order wins that take place every couple of weeks now, we've heard that you won another order of about 148 crores this morning. Give us a sense of it, the timeline, execution, any sort of challenges that you foresee, because you said there will be some challenges. Are those execution related?
Yeah, so let me begin with the margins. So, see, we started this business, basically projects through the business development. It is not even 3 years. October 21, we got the first bid in the Indore Metro. And then January 23, the first overseas project. And in the 23-24, we had a turnover of 1,000 crores in these two projects. And I'm happy to inform to the investors through the Steam TV channel, your Steam TV channel, that we had a margin of 10.66% in the first Indian project and 11% in the first overseas project. So it is a very good in a sense that the first two projects have given good results. All the projects will not have the similar kind of results, but we are confident that the kind of value addition which we do, we will have this kind of numbers. And the margins earlier were fixed, that we used to have the only nomination projects. Now we will have the nomination plus the bidding plus the projects through MOUs. This 23-24, we have signed 3 MOUs costing around 4,000 crores, 3,500 plus. So we have got a complete basket. Then we will keep on getting the basically dividends from the SPVs. All 5 SPVs have been commissioned. Now it is time to give the results from those SPVs. So what I can tell you is that we have already diversified from local rail infra to global oil infra. The margins will certainly change, because we will have the mix of the various kinds of segments. We are entering into the solar, we are entering into the irrigation, we are entering into the road sector, and the plenty of scope is there. See, 2047, the logistic policy and then Viksit Bharat concept, we need to have large number of logistic projects, the projects related to the logistics. So if you want to discuss on this, I have got plenty of time on this logistics part. Otherwise, you can ask the other questions.
So, yeah, but we have slight paucity of time. So we want to discuss this, Mr. Prasad, about the logistics piece. Can you quickly just explain what happens on the logistics end, and how do the numbers look like in 2-3 years' time when logistics becomes center stage?
Okay, so let me explain. The government of India launched this logistic policy in October 2021. This is a very important policy. The logistic market in the country is $200 billion. And in very simple terms, I would like to explain that if you are transporting any cargo through the road, the cost of the transportation is rupees 4 per ton per kilometer. Rail it is 1.5 to 1.6. Here it becomes 18, and the water it becomes 2. And the other factor like carbon emission, the CO2 emission per gram per net ton kilometer, it is 100 if you transport through the road. The present logistic cost is around 16%. The international market and norms is less than 10%. So there is a vision that by 2047, we should have the world-class logistic infra, number one. Then we should have the less logistic cost. Presently, it is 16% of the total economy. It should be around 8%. Then the carbon emission, I have already said. So the modal share becomes very important. See, in 1951, the modal share for the railways was 88%. Today, it is around 26%. We want to go up to 45%. If you want to achieve 45%, you need to have a lot of infrastructures projects in time to come. So in next few years, if you want to know, we have got plenty of scope for the railway infrastructures, airport infrastructures, hydro irrigation infrastructures, and the There is an endless projects, and only thing is that you'll have to get the work, you'll have to execute it, and you'll have to satisfy the various clients and the customers.
So, Mr. Prasad, would it be fair to say, looking at all that's happening on the railway side, plus the logistics piece, and if the share, etc., moves up, that the next 5 years for RVNL in terms of numbers? See, I'm not asking for 1-2 years; it's too difficult to predict. But I'm asking a 5-year vision. The next 5 years would be materially different than what the last 5 years have been. You haven't done badly by then, by the way. From March 2019 of 10,000 crores, you're at 21,000 crores. But it's not been blockbuster in terms of revenues. Do you think this kind of run rate can change over the next 5 years, Mr. Prasad?
See, if you see the 5 years, we had been, basically, we got the Navratna status last year, May 2023. And we are eyeing for Maharatna. See, in next 5 years, if you down the line, if you want to ask me that where this company is heading towards, we have got plenty of infrastructure projects. Here is a company which has got a proven track record. It has delivered in the past. It has got a very good CAGR. And we solve the technical issues technically. And down the line, after 5 years, we have got a very strong vision. See, in terms of numbers, if you want to ask, the top line may not be grow with that particular rate, but the bottom line, we are very much keen, number one. Number two, we are eyeing for foreign projects and we are diversifying. See, if you permit me, then I'll cite two examples. So let me explain about the solar projects. We had got no exposure. We have signed two basically contracts with a company called JZPL, and one project is in Tabarzal, that is the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, KSA, costing around 197 million. 153 million, there is Republic of Uzbekistan. So these two projects are taking off. So we had got no exposure, but we are working on this. We are diversifying it. We have already opened so many offices in foreign countries, and we are eyeing so many projects. See, the irrigation department, we had got no exposure. We have got a work of 2,500 crores. The hydro projects, we are eyeing two big projects. The airport projects, the next 5 years, the government of India is having 1 lakh crores of investments. So, so what is the strategy? Let me explain what are the strategies for this company. So focus is EPC, HAM and the BOQ based models, mostly EPC models. Then we want to expand the basically domestic footprints. Then internationally also, then leverage the strategic partnership. We are signing MOUs with the different domestic and international countries. We want to use and leverage the government initiatives. We are eyeing to secure high value contracts. So in time to come, what I can foresee is that this company has got a very, very bright future. You just simply see the past performance, and I'm 100% sure that in time to come, it will continue to like this.
Right. So we completely agree. The street likes it. The stock is at the day's high point as we have this conversation. One last question, sir. When do you plan to hit that 1 lakh crore of order book? Can we expect that in FY25?
This is in FY24-25. We should get this. Okay. And I just forgot to mention one small statistics. See, we have got an employee total strength of 400, contract engineers another 800, so 1200. So the turnover per employee is 18 crores and the profit after tax per employee is 1.22 crores. Can you imagine that a government company will have this kind of numbers? We have got the efficiency of a private sector and the authority and the trustworthiness of the government sector.
So one quick, very short question. We're completely out of time, but what is the quantum of order book that you have visibility on for this quarter?
See, presently we have not reconciled, but it is around 85,000 crores. And after
this quarter,
we have got a strike rate of around 24%. So whatever bids we are submitting, so there is a likelihood of getting these many numbers. We are eyeing so many projects in overseas, the foreign projects. So let us see. I'm 100% sure that time will tell. But we are going to have good numbers.
I'm certain, and the stock also seems certain at the day's high point on RVNL. Thank you very much, Mr. Prasad. Good luck and congratulations. We'll hopefully see you soon again. On that note, we'll take a break. We'll come back, bring you the conversation with Bandhan Bank. They reported numbers. Of course, more on Bandhan Bank right after this break, so stay tuned.
Hello and welcome to NDTV Profit. Bandhan Bank reported its quarterly earnings on Friday. The company's net profit fell 93% on year to rupees 54.6 crore during the March quarter. This was because the bank's provisions jumped over twofold during Q4, along with a 32% increase in its operating expenses during the quarter. We have Mr. Chandrasekhar Ghosh, MD and CEO of Bandhan Bank, to discuss the numbers and break down these numbers for us. Good morning, Mr. Ghosh. Thank you for joining us.
Good.
So my first question to you is on provisions, of course. This is a significant jump, some 140% rise. So what exactly has the bank provided for in this quarter, if you could help us understand?
If you see that there is a good quarter and happened in the financial year, and of course this is a total year also happened good. If I come to this, the total financial year profit has come 2,200 crores plus, which was in the last year 2,100 crores. So in that sense, the year profit has come good. Only the point on that we are provisioned 1,700 crores, and which has been helped us to write up 3,850 crores, which amount is a largely which we are carried in our book as a NPA from 2019-20 to 2022. So I feel that this is a long time have been carried. We'll be like to one time to make it in a technical write-off, and a separate vertical will be like to recover of those money. For that reason, we are doing it on that, and we have been shown that the quarter profit has come down.
Okay, so is the entire provisioning of 1,700 crore towards the written off portfolio? What is the breakdown on these write-offs? If you could explain that to us.
If you see that the write-off, we have that the 1,100 plus the crore, and the balance is in standard asset provision.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Are you expecting any recoveries from the CGM FMU loans in the coming quarters? If you could explain that to us in detail, what portion of this is the written off portfolio is CGMF loans and the other loans as well? And are you expecting any recoveries as well?
Though we are not counting as a CGFMU loan, we are only written off. We are written off the portfolio which are the more than 2 years with us as a non-qualified as an NPA. So we'll be like to clean on that, the portfolio. And of course, out of 3,852 crores, 3,009 crores as a CGFMU. And this is not really as a write-off, it's a technical write-off. We are separately given a focus to recover those money. So that is the one part. And of course, it is a very good way shown that the future of the quality portfolio in the book, and it will be like to good for the bank.
But are you expecting any recoveries in these loans, and if at all there's going to be any further impact on profitability because of these loans in the coming quarters?
After the written off portfolio, always when we like to recover the money, it will be come to this the profitability. It will improve the profitability because when we go to the technical write-off, we are 100% provision made, so that the provision is little bit higher, and the profit is showing the low. But when this money will become as a recover, this money again will become to the P&L, which will be shows that the profitability will be like to higher. In that sense, if I say that the last quarter, we are recovered 250 crores from NPA customers. So this way we are like to looking in future, it will become and the profitability will be increased.
Okay. So why we are asking these questions is because this was a material provision amount that you decided to provide for in this quarter. So what led you to do this in this quarter as a lump sum? Any if you could shed some light on that.
No, if you see that there's a other point is there. That is, the portfolio quality has come very good in this financial year, including the last quarter. And this is a confidence has given on that. The pandemic time, whatever we have in worst situation we faced, and customer also faced the problem to not to running their business, and all those things will be like to one-time click. And the second point on that, if we come to this, the quality of the portfolio in bank in the last financial year means in the 23-24, out of the total of this, the portfolio is to say that the 50% is our portfolio is in microcredit, and which is out of the 1,25,000 crores. And this the 50% the portfolio is saying that which is the 65,000 crores we disbursed in the financial year 23-24. And out of this 65,000 crores, only 160 crores has come as NPA. And that is showing the confidence on that. This portfolio quality has come very good and excellent on that. And it will continue in the future on that. And next, another thing we see that the DPD, the SMA 0, 1, 2, we also seen that very drastically has been improved. In the last March, means in the 23 March quarter, it was in a 5.6%, but it has come in this quarter, in this financial year, this quarter, it has come 2%. So it is also again showing on that when the DPD is coming down and the NPA slip is coming down, that means in the future credit quality will become as a very good on that. For that reason, whatever we are carrying some non-performing asset, we should be gradually like to side off from the balance sheet.
All right. Thank you. My next question was on asset quality, but your slippage has come down by 1,000 crores in Q4 from previous quarter. So are you seeing any stress building up, or where have the recoveries been from? And if you could give a detailed breakdown of what segment have the slippages come down in?
No, if you see that the slippage has come down, I have been like to calculate in that way. The first quarter, second quarter, third quarter in the last financial year, that means 23-24, we see that the slippage has come 1,300 crores per quarter above. And the recover has come 400 crore each quarter, and 900 crores plus has been taken as a NPA net added in every quarter. But in the fourth quarter, we saw that 1,300 plus has come down to 1,000 crores, and recovered has come from the 400 crores to 500 plus, and net NPA added from earlier it was in a 900 crores per quarter has come down to 500 crores per this quarter. So that is been showing on that the slippage has come down and the recovery has come up, and it has been tilted to the bank. The net of NPA addition has coming down, which is showing that very quality portfolio improved and the customer also coming back to the normal position.
Okay.
Another one point I mentioned on that is because of 50% of the portfolio are micro. Whatever the measure of my portfolio was in a risk in the time of pandemic, and I explained about in that portfolio how much is going to write off is a measure from that amount. And we see that what is the improvement happened in the last financial year. We say that the 2021, 22 fully pandemic, no group meeting happened, no customer attended the group meeting. Discipline have been totally breakdown, and without discipline, without the good habit, there is a risk for the microcredit. Again, we have started the rebuild of the group. 22, 23 have been built up the group again. It has come 50% of the group attendance and behavior change in a positive mode. And it is coming, and 23, 24, it has come again to this 90%, which have been impacted to this, the recovery and the good behavior of the customer to repay the money. And then it has been shown that the future it will be coming good because the group attendance and group behavior and customer habit is a very important for the microcredit success of that.